Welcome to LAZE in the Go Down. Join us as we laze with some of the very beautiful queens and kings. Inside the Go Down, we enjoy our guests as they share their journeys with us, which includes some very funny and also very private details. In this life, things go right, and they also go wrong. Sometimes crazy wrong, and a true journey is never complete without real sacrifices.
So I'm sitting there all mellowed out in my little zone and everything, and all of a sudden, King Kong walks in the room, and this joker looks at me and starts stalking.
So what we bring to the table makes all the difference. Welcome to LAZE in the Go Down. Today's featured guest is Florida's own Barry S. McLeod.
Well, there's a couple of celebrities that I will always have a special appreciation for. The first one is the late Diane Carroll and McLeod.
When we laze in the Go Down, we expose the raw data and content from inside the vault of a very personal soul.
Sometimes we have to have something that we experience that is really on the very embarrassing and sad and unfortunate and even dark side, in order to give us that reboot, that jolt that we need to snap up out of that funk.
Yes, we break it all out just for you. So laze back and tune in, cause it's time for this week's spiel to go down. Brought to you by The Right Side of Me Productions. LAZE in the Go Down.
So the one situation that really, for a long time, I was on the side of embarrassed to talk about, because I was actually going through a long stage of depression, and never wanted to admit to myself that I could be depressed. And I had been doing some things behind closed doors, and it included a lot of drinking. And I would just go to work and just go home, avoid people, and just be in my little funk, And I ended up doing something very stupid that could have cost me a whole lot. I'm so thankful that it didn't work out that way, but it actually could have. And it's really, when I look back at it, it's kind of funny, but it definitely made for a defining moment for me. I had to redefine myself and relook at my purpose and my vision and the things that were important to me. So one day I was working and I was just so frustrated. And I had an accumulation of days and weeks and in fact that just had built up on me, and I just I needed a break. And I was just in that place. And so when I got off work, I felt like, okay, I think I might better get me a drink. And then the better mind told me, no, you don't need that. You've been doing enough of that. So when I left work, I got in my car, I was driving, and just all of a sudden, there I was, parked directly in front of the door of the liquor store. So I said, well, I'm here. I guess I may as well go on in and get me, a little something. So I went in and I got a bottle, and I went home, and I started drinking. And I wasn't answering the phone, and I just didn't want to be bothered with nobody. Kept on drinking. Started feeling real good. So there's this lady that I knew. She has this bootleg house, right? And it's really not that far from where I was living at that time. And so I decided somewhere about 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, because I was up pacing, couldn't sleep. I said, man, I need me another round. So I goes to the bootleg house. I felt like that was where I wanted to be, because I had been there 2 or 3 times, me and some of my buddies, and we would go there and get a little late night bump. But I didn't really know nobody there but her. So I felt comfortable going there because Like, don't nobody know me really, and I don't know nobody. I don't want to know nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to sit down and chill and have my drink. So I was already three shades in the wind when I got there. And so I ordered me a couple of shots, put them down, ordered me a can of beer, put it down, ordered another can of beer, a couple more shots. So I'm sitting there all mellowed out in my little zone and everything. And all of a sudden, King Kong walks in the room. And this joker looks at me and starts stalking me. And he says, "Hey, I know you from somewhere, don't I?" I looked at him. I'm feeling, like I said, I'm in my little zone. I'm like, "Nah, I don't think so, man." He's like, no, I know you. And like, I knew that I didn't know him, but I'm wondering what makes him think that he know me. So he said, "You mind if I have a shot?" I look at him, he was kind of intimidating. He was making me uncomfortable. So I said, "Yeah, man, go down and have one." He turned it up, took the other one, turned it up, and looked at me as if to say, "Now what you gonna do about it?" And I'm like, "Oh, Lord, what is this I'm in now?" You know, so it's like I knew trouble was staring me in the face, and I wasn't ready for it. I'm intoxicated, and my better judgment told me, say, "Look, Barry, if you were not intoxicated, you ain't no physical match for this dude." This dude, he was buffed. I mean, he was big. He was what the old school fellas call cockstrong. So I'm sitting there, my mind is turning. He done kind of caused me to go into alert mode, you know? And I'm thinking, I ain't scared of this dude, but I ain't gonna make it. So he started saying some different things to me that was making me, just kind of riling me up on the inside. So the lady that owns the bootleg house, me and her were cool. And so she came out into the room where we were, and she had this butcher knife. It was about this long. And she's behind him. He can't see her. And she shows me this knife, and there was a chair behind him that had a cushion on it, and she put the knife up under the chair. I knew how she did that she was telling me, "Barry, you in trouble. You in big trouble, and you might need this." So I'm sitting there, I'm processing all of this. And but I got another problem here. He is standing between me and the chair where the knife is. And I felt pretty sure that he was gonna try me. And I'm like, oh man, this is finna go down real bad. So I'm like, okay, well, we gonna do the best dance we gonna do up in here. I ain't gonna make it, but I'm gonna have to let him know that I ain't no chump. So right at that time, the Creator sent an angel in the room for me. And this guy comes in that knows the both of us. And he said, "Barry, what's up, man? Man, when you gonna let me be in one of your shows, man? Man, you gonna be the next Tyler Perry, da 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 da." And now King Kong looking at him, and he looking back at me, and he's like, So then he asked me this question. He says, "So, you a producer?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, can you produce me?" Can I produce him? I say, "Well, what do you do, man?" He's like, "Well, I'm a rapper. And I want to give you a little taste of what I can do. Do you mind?" And I'm like, Lord have mercy. So I'm like, "Okay, man, yeah, go ahead. Show me a little something." So he's sitting there, he's standing there, and he starts rapping. Then he sits down next to me because I was sitting on this couch. And he sits down next to me, and he's looking at me in this intimidating way, and he just rapping, and he's looking me straight in the eyes. And I'm saying to myself, who told him he could rap? I mean, why would he get a fantasy like this? He can't rap at all. And so then when he finished this little thing he did, he asked me, he says, so what you think? Am I good? So I'm like, yeah, man, you all right. Well, can you produce me? And so right at that time, the creator sent me another angel. And this guy that I didn't know him, but they knew each other. And he came in and saw him and he said something to him. Then King Kong gets up and he goes into another room with this guy. And so I'm like, okay, here is my out. There was this part of me that wanted to go to my car and come back in there. But I got in my car and I drove away. And my mind is just racing. I'm not intoxicated so much now. I still was intoxicated, but I had went into alert mode. So my brain is just racing. I had an attitude, and it was just the man part of me wanted to, because now that I hadn't been to my car, the man part of me wanted to step back on the scene and just look at him and let him decide what he wanted to do. But then there was this better judgment that said, Baron, charge it to the game, keep on going. And so when I got home, I just didn't, I had kind of sobered up some. And I was thinking about how there it all was. All of these years, all of these shows I've done, all of these people I've met, all of these people that I've reached out to, and these people that I've tried to be a blessing to through my work, and the people that I've had conversations with, many who have encouraged me and many who I've encouraged. And I was just thinking about how all of that, just like that, could have been going down the drain. I could have been gone because this guy, even when I found out later on, he was truly the real deal. And so that was a very defining moment for me. I definitely had to stop and take some time, revamp, look at myself in the mirror really, and say, man, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So I snapped out of that and I got back in the saddle. A few weeks later, started working on my next show. The first person who to me was very significant to tell me that I had the talent to be able to write was Professor James Haskins. He wrote, I think it was over 100 books, and he wrote the book, The Cotton Club, in which Francis Ford Coppola bought the rights from him and made the movie. So he was a professor at the University of Florida, and another friend of mine who was a professor at the university, she put me in contact with him, and he agreed to meet with me and have a sit down. And I'm gonna always appreciate him because he was the first person of his caliber to open my eyes up to see more clearly what it was that had everything to do with my vision, as far as what I want to do with writing for film and all of this stuff. This is how it actually happened. I talked with him on the phone. I had never met him before, didn't know what he looked like. So he wanted to meet at his favorite restaurant downtown, and there was limited parking there. So I pulls up, and there's one parking space that's available, like right in front of the restaurant. And I felt lucky, and I pulled in there. And as I put my car in park, I hear this horn, bop, bop, bop. I'm like, who is this? Who is this blowing at me like they crazy? Didn't know that was him. And so I looked in my rearview mirror, and I see this man tell me, get out of there, get out of there. I said, man, you must be crazy. I turned my engine off, got up, went inside, waited at the door for him. All of a sudden, The man walks inside, and he's the man who he wanted me to give up my parking space. Now, I'll be honest, if I hadn't known it was him, I would have gave up my parking space and walked a good distance. I didn't know it was him. And so he walked in, he was feeling kind of salty. And so he said, come on over here, let's go sit over here. So I did, and I humbled on down. And so I went ahead and I thanked him. I said, Professor Haskin, I really do appreciate you meeting with me. This is very special to me, and I just want you to know that I really appreciate it. And he was like, yeah. So what is your story about? And I said, well, it's about this man he said, that ain't what I asked you. I thought, dang. He said, what is your story about? I said, well, see, what happens is this man and this. He said, that ain't what I asked you. And now I'm starting to feel like, man, what is your problem? Why are you hollering at me? You know, that's how I was feeling on the inside. You know, I think I had a pretty straight face, but it was starting to change. And so I didn't know where he was coming from. You know, I'm trying to answer your question. And he's like, what is your story about? And so I tried it again, and he chewed me up again. And so by then I was getting frustrated. And, and so he saw the frustration in me. And then he pulled back. And then he started mesmerizing me. I'm scratching my head wondering, is he playing games with my mind? But I knew who he was. He most likely was not. Because he was like, you see them people sitting right over there? And I looked. He said, those people work for the Fonda family. You've heard of Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda and all of them, have you? And I was like, yes, I have. He said, well, their office is right around the corner here, and they work for them. I thought, And then some people were walking, because we were sitting by the window, and some people were outside walking by. He said, you see these people walking by right here? And I looked. He said, they work for Clint Eastwood. Their office is around the corner over here. And so I was like, wow. I said, you mean to tell me these people are right here in our city? He said, oh yeah. You'll be surprised the people who are right here, big film people. And that got my attention. And so then he said, see, you say that you want to be a writer and you want to submit your stuff to Hollywood. He said, have you registered your stuff? I said, what you mean? He said, with the WGA. I said, well, what's the WGA? The Writers Guild of America. Have you registered your stuff there? I had never heard of it. So I'm like, no, I haven't. He said, well, that's what you're going to have to do. And so I was like, okay. So I came with my little pen and note paper and stuff. I was taking some notes. And he said, you see, you rattle because of how I talk to you. He said, but you talking about dealing with them people out there in Hollywood. And if you can't take what I just did to you, maybe you don't need to go out there in Hollywood, because they are a whole lot worse. Bam, he really opened my eyes to that. And so we ended up having a very hearty conversation, and he agreed to read my material and everything, and he was the first person who told me that I had the potential to be a good writer. So I'm gonna always be grateful to Professor James Haskin. I look at him as a mentor. I'm sure you know who I am by now. So let me just cut to the chase and tell you about
DUVAL'S comedy show that just might be coming to your city.
Anyway, we have...
Hey y'all, we are the best and the funniest comedians in the state of Florida and beyond. We are too funny.
So are you ready to...
Get up off of that thing and laugh until you feel better.
Now, when you hear about the show...
Hurry, get your ticket, because it just might be sold out. Tell it. Hurry up.
In fact, you just might want to
come produce or host the show with us.
Now, for more information,
Just visit McLeod.com and send us your inquiry.
or
Call 352-371-2700.
simply because we are
The DUVAL'S.
boy, I tell you, I got a crazy group of people here. But they are so funny. You're going to enjoy the show. Well, there's a couple of celebrities that I will always have a special appreciation for. The first one is Diane Carroll, the late Diane Carroll, and McLeod. I didn't actually meet Diane Carroll. What happened was she came to do a concert at the Performing Arts Center here in Gainesville. And so I had wanted to connect with her because the same script that Professor Haskins had reviewed, it was a story from a dream that I had that included her, Eddie Murphy, Morgan Freeman, Danny Glover, Halle Berry, and Whitney Houston. And so when I heard that she was coming to town, I was like, man, I think I want to try to reach her and see if I could get the script in her hand, maybe have a conversation with her. So what I did was I went to a couple of florist shops, and I made sure that I bought the biggest, most beautiful bouquet of roses in town. And so I sent them to her backstage, and I had a little note on it, you know, saying that I would like to meet her and discuss with her about my script that I wrote. And so I went to the concert, and she put on a very, very nice performance. And you know, it's a full house in there, and it was just a really nice concert. And so at the end of the concert, when she was closing out, she broke everything down and she started talking and acknowledging different people and stuff like that. And one of the last things she said, the roses are very pretty. And I never got a chance to meet her or talk to her, but that really made my day. That really made my day, that she at least acknowledged the roses. And so that kind of taught me a little something about tact, you know, trying to reach people. But I really appreciate Miss Diane Carroll. The other person that McLeod, you know, the thing what I appreciate so much about McLeod is the fact that I went to see a play that he was in, and I did what I typically do when I would go to plays. I would go in the lobby and try to meet the cast, especially the celebrities, and I try to get some contact information and try to get any kind of information that I can get, and trying to get me a hookup. And I asked Malik, I said, hey, my name's such and such, and you know, I'm trying to do this right here. I just wonder, man, anything you can tell me, anything you can help a brother out with. Malik looked at me and he said, hey man, look, I'm just straight up not interested, you know. He said, but I tell you what, I have a brother who he produces some different things, and I'll be happy to give you his contact information because I'm not interested, I'm too busy with the stuff I'm already doing. And I respect him and appreciate him for that because he didn't have to do that. He told me straight up where he was coming from, and he still tried to help me. I did reach out to his brother. I didn't ever hear back from him. But I'll always, one day I hope I get an opportunity to meet Malik again and tell him, say, man, you probably don't remember me. You probably met so many different people. But I just want to thank you again, man, you know, because this is just his vibe. His vibe was very, very smooth and friendly, and I appreciate that. And see, the reason why I appreciate that is because, like I said, this was a thing that I did. I would be courageous enough to approach a lot of these celebrities and stuff, and the majority of them, they dish you, you know, and you know, they're polite. Some of them, not all of them, but most of them that I met, they were pretty polite and cool, you know. But you know, they diss me, you know. Like I approached people like J. Anthony Brown, David Mann, Christopher Williams, Gary Guidry, you know, people like that. I approached them, and it was so interesting because they would act friendly and nice and everything, knowing that they're gonna BS you. They give you a card to a number that you're never gonna get an answer, or you're never gonna talk to nobody, you know. But the thing about that is, I knew it then, but I just didn't mind trying. And you never know when, you know, all the stars are gonna line up with that right there, and you're gonna catch that break. You're gonna talk to that one person who will, you know, take you serious and try to help you. But you know, I'm not trying to say that they were negative, because I understand, you know, that they get approached by so many different people, and some people are full of it and some people are not. And they ain't got time to be trying to figure all of that out. And so, you know, it was helpful for me to have that experience. And a lot of times I think about, what if I reach that status like that? How am I gonna react and respond to people? And I tell myself, I'm gonna make sure that I be more genuine, like how Malik was with me. You know, because I really don't see the point in telling somebody, hey, yeah, give me a call. I'd be happy to talk to you, when you know good and well you don't mean it. You can just say, hey, look, I'm busy. Nothing I can do for you. I wrote a script called Fantastic Voyage and submitted it to Tom Joyner. And that's why I have a high regard for Tom Joyner. He agreed to review the script. He gave me the address to send it to. I don't know if he actually read it or not, but he did approve me to send it to him. And it was just a story about, even though I had not been on a Fantastic Voyage cruise, but it was just my imagination and fantasy about what that cruise would be like, based off of all the publicity it got and all the talking points that came out of it. And so I was just did a creative thing and wrote that. But Tom did tell me, he said, look, Barry, we appreciate that, but right now we're not trying to do a movie right now. So thank you, Tom Joyner. I do appreciate that, man. You know, I guess it's because I'm a guy, you know, doing stage productions and stuff like that. Almost everywhere I go, people say the name Tyler Perry to me. And, you know, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I ain't mad at it, you know. Tyler Perry is somebody that, why would you not admire him, you know? And I don't have a problem at all with being associated with him. I'm actually one of his, and maybe his biggest fan on a particular level, because I really, 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 really love the fact that he got his own studio and how he did it, you know, in the short period of time that he did. Because I had been mad with a lot of our celebrities, some of our most beloved celebrities, for years, because I'm like, man, y'all got all of this money and y'all got enough money to put it together and do something, and then you don't have to stand in line and wait for Hollywood to give you a job. And I know that ain't busy, you know, leading a company and owning a company is not for everybody, you know. But I just had this attitude, like, man, why y'all gotta always be in line to wait for other people to give you a job? Create your own job, your own opportunity, and opportunities for other folks like you. And to see Tyler Perry do that, I knew it could be done, and I feel like when it comes to that, I'm absolutely his biggest fan. Yeah. I almost got a chance to meet him one time, and it's crazy how it happened. He had, like I said, it took me a while to get courageous enough to approach people, and especially celebrity status people and stuff, and try to figure out different strategies, how to get close to him and stuff. But he did I think it was What's Done in the Dark, was in Jacksonville. And so I went to the show, and I went with the intentions of meeting him. And so out in the lobby, I was talking to a couple of the vendors. There's one guy, I hope I get a chance to come across him again. I don't remember, but I think his name was Tony. And I had this little package together, and he told me, I said, man, look, I'm trying to meet Tyler, man. I want to get this package to him. And so he was like, man, Tyler's not coming. He's in Atlanta. And Tyler had this thing that he would always come out at the end of the shows and address the audience and stuff. So I was kind of anticipating that. So he told me Tyler wasn't coming, and he said, but you know what, man? I'm gonna try to help you out. He said, I will see Brown tomorrow, and I'll be happy to give it to Brown for you if you want me to. And I said, man, I would be most gracious. So I went on in and I watched the show, and Tyler surprised everybody. And I could tell the way all the cast was looking when he walked on the stage, that they were not expecting him to be there. He did surprise them, I believe. I believe they really thought that he was in Atlanta. So when I saw Tyler come on that stage, I made my move. I got up out of the audience, went through the lobby, and at the venue where they were performing, you come inside, if you just keep straight across, there's this long hallway that leads to backstage. So there was this guy in uniform, and big guy, and I'm thinking he's security, you know, and so I walk up to him, and I'm trying to think, what am I gonna say? You know, because I want to get backstage, I want to meet Tyler. And I'm like, what am I gonna say to this guy? And when I approach him, I didn't really have any special words to say. And I just ended up telling him the truth. I said, look, man, I'm just be honest with you. I didn't want to meet Tyler Perry. I would like for you to let me go backstage. And he looked at me and he said, I'm not security. He said, I'm a fireman. I said, oh, okay, thank you. And I started walking on down that hallway, right? So as I'm getting down the hall, I could see like it's a little doorway, and I could see this other security person. He was just pacing back and forth. When he's in, when he come to this side, you can see him, and then he's out of sight. And you go back to that side, you can see him, and then he's out of sight. And he was just pacing back and forth, right? So as I got closer and closer to him, he wasn't paying attention to me. And I was like, what am I gonna say to him? So I still didn't have a game plan. So when I got up to that opening, the backstage door was right there on the left. And he had just turned and went that way and was out of sight. And I put my hand on that doorknob and turned it, and it was open. I opened it and zipped right through the doorway and closed it back. And immediately after I closed the door, there was this other guy, security. He was standing right there in front of me, like literally 2 feet away, tall guy, and I was looking at him. And he said, what are you doing? Are you with the band? And I said, yes, I'm with the band. he said, oh, okay, you need to go back here. I said, wow. And so I just started sauntering on back there like I belong back there and everything, right? So I get backstage and, the show was over. And so I started looking at the set because being a playwright myself and having built some of my sets, and I've never had a really, really plush set like that, right? And I just, looking at it from the audience, I always wondered how it looked from the back because I understand some of the mechanics and the construction of how it must be in order for it to look and function the way that it does. So I wanted to satisfy some of my curiosity and see just how they had that thing going on, right? So I guess back then I'm looking, I'm like, wow, okay. I'm just like marveling, like, wow, look at this right here, okay. And so then I turned and I went around this corner and there was a dressing room right there. I guess the guys were in that dressing room. And I went in there, and I saw that they had their clothes and stuff on the tables and shoes and stuff on the floor, but they weren't there. So I was like, dang. So I came back out and I was looking and for somewhere to go, and then you turn around and go around this way, and that was like the backstage entrance load-in dock. So I turned to go to that corner, go out there, and there was another security person right there, and I was like, now I'm acting like I belong, and I'm like, hi, ma'am, I'm just trying to catch up with Tyler, right quick. And she said, well, there he is getting in the van right there. You're just about to miss him. So I went and tried to holler, and he was in the van, and he had just pulled out, and they couldn't see me, and he was gone. And that's as close as I got to actually seeing and trying to meet Tyler Perry. So ended up, I met a couple of his cast people in the break room and stuff back there, and I talked to a couple of them. But that was like a fun experience. I came that close to meeting the brother, and but maybe one day I get a chance to meet him, and I'll be able to tell him this story, and maybe he find it funny, but I find it funny. But it just was a fun experience for me.
The best live stream in the city. The Signal 27 Show. Signal 27 Show. The best live stream podcast in the city.
In 1987, I went to a hairstyling seminar. It was by Floyd Kenyatta. And this guy really opened my eyes up to some things that were important, because when I first started as a hairstylist back in the early 80s, there was this premier black salon magazine called Shop Talk. And that was, you didn't have Shop Talk in your hair salon, man, you was missing the boat. So Floyd Kenyatta had ads that he had placed in there, and I remember this one ad. He said, for $200, you can come to my salon where I work, stand next to me, and watch me do whatever I do. Look at all the products I use and ask me any questions that you want for an hour, I think it was. And so I was like, to me, that was a big deal. Only problem was then, those were lean times for me back then. Otherwise, I would have did it. And I think he was up north somewhere where his salon was. I don't remember. But I just saw him as like a giant, you know, because he was in Shop Talk. And he was charging $200 an hour to come and stand by him and watch him work. So when he came to Florida to do this seminar, I was right on it. And he opened our eyes up because he told us, he said, look, let me explain something to y'all. He said, my real name is Ray Floyd. He said, when I told somebody my name was Ray Floyd, didn't nobody turn their heads. Nobody looked at me in any kind of special way. He said, and one day I was reading a magazine and I saw this African king named Kenyatta. He said, and I changed my name to Floyd Kenyatta. And then everybody turned their heads and they looked at me like I was somebody. I thought, wow, okay. And then he said, you know those ads that y'all saw in Shop Talk magazine where I was charging $200 to come to my salon and watch me work and ask questions and all of that? He said, well, they charge you to put those ads in there. They're not for free. He said, I paid them my money, so I had the opportunity to say what I wanted to say. And man, what a lesson for me back in '87. I was like, that was powerful for me. You know, just looking at the concept that he had, the reasoning behind it, and the smartness of it, and the effectiveness of it. That really was very educational for me. And Floyd Kenyatta, brother, I am always going to appreciate you, and I hope I get a chance to meet you in person one day as well. You're a beast. I can remember when you told us that you had been doing hair for 24 years at that time, if I'm not mistaken. In 1987, you said, I've been doing hair for 24 years. And I was like, wow, 24 years. Wow. I've been doing hair now since I got my license in 1983. And this is October 2021. You feel me? So yeah. Yeah, at this point, you know, I've done a lot of shows. I went from playing in bands and producing fashion shows to drama. Didn't have a clue when I was doing fashion shows that I was actually doing drama in the way that I was writing it and stuff. You know, but the pieces started to slowly fall in place for me when I actually started doing plays. The reason I started doing plays because I was trying to get a film deal, and I just got tired of waiting for the phone to ring, and I'm an action person, so I just decided, I said, you know what, I'm gonna start doing plays because this way I can make something happen rather than nothing happen. I'm just sitting around and waiting in vain. I had an agent at the time, and we got a couple of close calls, but we never got anything concrete to happen. So I started doing plays for churches, and then I just started growing and doing the production. So at this point now, I've written, I think really it's about 20, it's at least 19 screenplays in different genres, and I got at least 17, maybe 18 stage plays that I've written, and I've self-published 4 books. So I'm kind of proud to have delved into this writing thing and stuff, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to have some really talented people around me, and we've taken our shows on the road, mostly here in Florida, 4 different cities in Georgia. We went out to Shreveport one time. So a lot of people still got to get to meet me. Yeah, you still got to get to meet me. And so you probably will once you get a taste of my new sitcom. I got a comedy sitcom called The DUVAL'S that we're producing right here in Jacksonville. And Jacksonville, Florida, that is. Now, they got a Jacksonville, Georgia, and a Jacksonville somewhere else too. But Jacksonville, Florida, yeah, we got a show in Duval County called The DUVAL'S. And yeah, it is hilarious. And I've got some very, very talented actors a part of this, and they all are stand-up comedians. We got David Emanuel, we got Queen B, we got Leroy Gordon, we got I almost call her by her character name, but we've got Miss Chandler, Claudine Chandler, and we have Ryan Sinclair, you know, and they are some awesome stand-up comedians, and we're going to be doing the DUVAL'S comedy tour coming up real soon as well. And then we're going to piggyback off of all of that, and we're going to do the DUVAL'S, the stage play, the live stage play. So y'all stay tuned for the DUVAL'S, and you know you can always catch me at McLeod.com. We have a YouTube channel. It's the DUVAL'S, Barry S. McLeod. If you just YouTube or Google Barry S. McLeod, you're gonna find it. And but yeah, we got a channel for the DUVAL'S on YouTube, and we are also on social media. So yeah, y'all get ready for some really funny stuff, because the DUVAL'S is, man, you talking about laughing. You're gonna be doing a whole lot of laughing, and it's just good. It's just good. So you can feel free to subscribe to us just as well on either of our platforms, okay? The DUVAL'S, okay? Yeah, so people ask me, well, why do you call yourself Florida's own Barry S. McLeod? Okay, Florida is my home, but I did some shows down south, and I remember the first time this happened, I was in Melbourne, and then the second time it happened, I think we were in Tampa, and somebody said to me, you know, you are Florida's own. Man, we proud of you, da-da-da. And then somebody else said that. I think it was in Tampa. Yeah, we proud of you, you Florida's own. And I was like, wow. And it registered to me later on after the second time. Somebody said that to me. And I liked the way it sounded. So I decided that I would take on the handle of being called Florida's own Barry S. McLeod. It got a nice ring to it, don't it? Yeah. But we got some really fun stuff coming through the Right Side of Me Productions Incorporated, and we're still building a lot of relationships with people. And if you would like to have us come to your city, to your organization, via your organization, via your church, whatever, we'll be happy to bring our productions there, and we'll be happy to perform for you, and we'll be happy to work some kind of terms out with you, because we know that there's COVID, and then there's everybody has different circumstances. Some people have higher budgets than other people. And so we'll be most happy to work with any of you. So give us a call, 352-371-2700, or visit barrysmcleod.com. And I'm on social media. And don't forget the DUVAL'S. I'm yours truly, Florida's own, Barry S. McLeod. Thank you.
LAZE in the Go Down. Brought to you by the Right Side of Me Productions.